Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast live here on YouTube in the Astro Room. I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So, if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So this channel is everything tarot, astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my love, so this is going to be the weekly astro forecast for the week of August 7th through 13th, 2023. All right, so lots going on. It's going to be a week that is going to be pretty eye-opening. If relationships are not your thing, if you're kind of over it, I feel like lately people fall in one of two camps. They're either like, oh my gosh, relationships, yes, I'm trying to live my best life. Or they're like, I'm so over relationships, I'm done. That's so not my focus right now. So for better or for worse, the focus this week is relationships, and in a very major way. I feel like this is going to be a week that is extremely eye-opening. I feel like it's going to be a week that a lot of people are going to receive a lot of clarity and enlightenment, okay? Venus is playing a prominent role this week, all right? And Venus is currently in Leo, currently retrograde. So some of you may be in the midst of dealing with past relationship issues, or maybe even past lovers coming back around. For some, it may be more money, self-worth, or self-love kind of situations that are popping up. But regardless, I feel like it's going to be a week where we all kind of figure out what we really want, who we really want, and what direction we want to go in. So I feel like it's a kind of pivotal week where we can really figure out where we're headed. And I, for one, think that that is a very good thing. All right. But before we get into everything, all right, let us get into housekeeping and announcements. All right. So if you are joining me here on the live tonight, thank you so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate you. Feel free to say hello in the chat and hit that like button on your way in, please. And thank you. And if you are watching this on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. Hopefully you find this broadcast to be informative, enlightening. Maybe you'll get some confirmation with respect to what you're thinking. You know, these broadcasts are meant to accomplish quite a few goals. So hopefully you find this information valuable. And if you do, please hit that like button, please, and thank you as well. All right. So in terms of announcements, I'm super excited because this past weekend, I finally reached the sort of holy grail of YouTube milestones. This channel finally hit 1,000 subscribers, and I am so thankful and appreciative because I remember when I started this channel and I was literally just talking to myself. I started doing these weekly astro forecasts a little over a year ago, and yeah, nobody would show up. I would literally be talking to myself. And now I've fostered this community that is so dope. I have so many wonderful people that tune in, whether you tune into the lives, whether you tune into the replays or my other sort of scripted videos. You guys are absolutely amazing. I could have never even imagined, when I thought of doing YouTube, what I'm experiencing right now, I couldn't have even imagined it back then. And I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. This is literally just the beginning. And I'm not just saying that just to say that. I say that because I mean it, because the things that I have in store, the direction in which I'm going to take this channel, I think that you guys are really going to like it. And I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. So thank you so much for helping me reach this milestone. It means the world to me. You guys mean the world to me, and I'm just so super thankful. And that being said, being that this is a major milestone, I figure what better time than now to do a giveaway. All right. So maybe you saw my community post, or maybe you saw this on Instagram. But so tonight I am going to be giving away a free 3-month transit forecast. All right. So not my signature service, but one of my services is called the forecast. And basically it tracks your transits for a particular amount of time that basically lets you know what to expect over the next month, 3 months, or 6 months. So the giveaway tonight is going to be the forecast for 3 months. So this is going to be a written report that you will receive with 3 months worth of information on the upcoming transits. Plus it includes a 60-minute Zoom consultation with me. All right. So this particular service is valued at $150, but tonight I am giving one away to a lucky participant. All right. So that being said, if you want to participate in this giveaway, you're going to have to leave a comment down below. And if you're watching me live, it's not in the chat. It's going to be in the comment section down below. I want you to comment with your sun sign. That's all you have to comment with. Comment with your sun sign and you will automatically be entered into this giveaway. And later this week, I will be picking one participant from the giveaway at random who will receive this 3-month astrological forecast. All right. So again, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on the replay, leave a comment down below with your sun sign. That will automatically enter you into the giveaway. And then at the end of the week, I will be picking a winner and then I will contact you and yeah, you'll figure out what the next 3 months are going to look for you, astrologically speaking. It's a dope service. Hopefully you guys are interested in participating. And again, just participate. You leave a comment in the comment box down below with your sun sign. All right. So good luck to all of you. I look forward to giving the winner a 3-month forecast. I'm like super excited right now. Like this is such an amazing time, not only for the channel, but just in life. And I don't know if you guys are feeling this, but lately the energy has been really weird, but weird in a good way. I feel like so many things are changing. I feel like so many people are sort of stepping into who they are meant to be. Life is really shifting. I mean, just look at what's going on right now, right? Like it's crazy hot still, which is a whole subject in and of itself. I feel like time is speeding up. There's a whole bunch of crazy shit going on in society. Like things are really moving, right? And it's up to us to decide how we want our futures to look. And there is no time like the present to really start to be intentional and conscious about what it is that you want and where you are trying to go. And I feel like this is one of those weeks that's going to show you that, or it's going to urge you to sort of get in gear, get with the program and figure out where you're trying to go. Okay. So, let's see. I do have other announcements, but I don't know. I kind of feel like skipping them right now because I'm on a roll. But so when I was preparing for this live, you know, I typically do a short meditation. Sometimes I'll pull cards. But as I was meditating, I heard a message that was so loud, so strong that I was like, wow, this is really, I really have to relay this to the collective. So one of the things that's going on this week is that we are going to have opportunities to figure out what we want in love, for better or for worse, right? And when it comes to relationships, when it comes to romantic love, there's going to be this energy of a lot of people heeding the call of spirit. I feel like we are at a point in time right now where spirit is really like sounding the alarm to many of us. And it's not just, you know, to have a great relationship. Like that's part of it. That's sort of like a byproduct of what this whole process is about. But we are at a time right now, and I think if you've watched any of my other videos, I've mentioned this quite a few times. We are at a point right now where the vibration of the earth is rising. It's elevating, okay? And we kind of have no choice but to elevate ourselves, right? This is a point of ascension. And one of the things that I feel like is a priority right now in terms of the earth's ascension is love. Love for self, love for others, especially with the nodes having just switched signs into Aries and Libra. I guess one of the ways to raise the vibration of earth is love, right? Love is the highest vibration of all. And it's funny because the way that Spirit sort of delivered this message to me, it was like, Spirit is kind of tired of the old story that so many people are still adhering to when it comes to love. When people think that love hurts, that it's painful, that you have to do, you have to have this strategy or manipulative tactics or play games and all of this stuff. Like, Spirit is like, I'm so over it. I'm so tired. Like, it's really time for people to really understand what love is about. And I feel like Spirit it's almost like Spirit is either going to give you like a neon sign, or Spirit is going to be like blaring a trumpet in your ear, or think of like, when you're like in deep sleep and your alarm goes off and it's super loud and it sort of like startles you and just wakes you up abruptly. I feel like that is what is happening right now, particularly this week, okay? So it's this situation where many of us are going to be confronted with situations where we realize the situation that we're in is not where it's at, especially when it comes to relationships, right? Some of us are going to be like, whoa, what am I doing here? It's almost like, if you've ever been, okay, what Spirit wants me to say is kind of whatever, but yeah, I'm gonna say it. You ever like hooked up with someone randomly because you were like, you caught a vibe and you were like drinking whatever, and then you wake up the next morning, you're like, who the fuck is this? What am I doing here? What is this? Ew. Right? Maybe some of you haven't had that situation. Maybe some of us have. No judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. But I feel like that's how many people are going to be feeling. They're just going to be like, whoa, this is not what I signed up for. Or this doesn't feel right. Or, this seemed like where I wanted to be, but my heart is telling me otherwise. That's sort of also the energy of Venus retrograde. Excuse me. Venus retrograde is sort of activating people's heart spaces. One of the reasons why I think that Venus retrograde has people revisiting past relationships is because our hearts are being activated. And with our hearts being activated, it may signify the fact that we have unfinished business with somebody, or that our heart truly belongs to someone else, someone that we're currently not with. But regardless, I feel like this is going to be a time where we get really clear on who we want and where we want to be, right? But above all else, I feel like what Spirit really wanted me to relay to you is that this isn't just about finding love external to yourself. The love has to begin within. So you may find that if you are completely ignoring yourself, meaning that you are not putting yourself first, you're not making yourself a priority, you're not prioritizing self-love, this whole situation is not going to feel well to you. It's not going to feel good, because searching for love outside of you is just going to have you going round and round in circles. This is where you're going to keep repeating certain karmic cycles, especially in relationships. So what may end up happening at this time is that a lot of people may be sort of breaking up or separating or taking space or taking a break. And it's not so much just move into another relationship, right? Even if you realize that your heart belongs to someone that you were with in the past, there's also this energy of sort of being by yourself and figuring out what you want, what you need, and giving it to yourself first. The love that Spirit is trying to cultivate on earth right now, it's not the type of love that you're seeing like on Instagram. It's not this superficial, looks good, honeymoon bubble love thing. No, it's the real deal. But it has to start with you. And self-love isn't just let me take a bubble bath and put on some nice music. Like, self-love is about loving yourself in your totality. It's about loving yourself in your humanity and your divinity. It's loving your light side and your shadow side. If you cannot do that within yourself, it's going to be very difficult for you to do it with someone else. And so this is what we are cultivating right now. We're cultivating love within ourselves, but real love, unconditional love. And some of us are learning through I mean, we're all learning through this process, but I think that some of us are learning through our situations right now. Whether you've just started dating someone and you're noticing things that you don't necessarily like, or you're in a relationship and you're going through a rough patch right now, and learning to love not just your partner through it, but yourself through it as well. We are all learning lessons about love, real love in real ways, right? So you have to be open to the lessons. You have to be open to the experiences. And most importantly, you have to have an open heart. Like, spirit is not playing right now. When I tell you the way that this message came in, it was spirit was like, I'm tired. Like, I'm tired of seeing these same types of relationships with these same karmic lessons. I'm tired of people complaining about bullshit, but they're not really willing to look at themselves. Like, the time is now, especially with the astrology going on this week, right? It's like some of us, it's like you're going to be waking up from like a stupor. It's like things are suddenly going to become clear and you're going to be like, what have I been doing? Why have I been ignoring this? Why haven't I been listening to my heart, right? So many of us are going to be able to see clearly now. But not just that. I feel like the first part is sort of seeing clearly. The second part is this urge to act. Like I said, some people may be separating, going their separate ways, taking a break or whatever. But it's like our hearts are literally being activated. And sort of what I was shown is like, when someone, I guess when they code out or when their heart stops and they use that defibrillator and they shock them back to life, like that's sort of what's going on right now. A lot of our hearts are being shocked into what it is that we really want in relationships. Who are we? Right? Because with Venus in Leo, it's all about finding our authentic selves. Opening your heart just doesn't mean like feeling good or experiencing romance and things like that. This is about having the courage to be exactly who you are, for better or for worse. And so this is what's being activated right now. So if you find that things don't feel that great, that's okay. It's kind of not supposed to. I think that many of us are going to be shifted out of our comfort zones. We're being made to feel uncomfortable so that we can find comfort first within ourselves and then within our relationships. So I feel like this is going to be one of those weeks that's really, again, eye-opening, awakening, a shock to the system for some. I think for others, it's going to be like, you know what? My intuition has been telling me this all along, and I've been ignoring it. Or that saying, the heart wants what the heart wants. I think that some of us have been denying our hearts because to us it didn't make logical sense, or there were other extenuating circumstances that made us ignore our hearts. But the time has come where we can't do that anymore. Some people can, and those are the people who are staying in the old earth. The people who are not ascending, they're still going to be in the cesspool of whatever's left. But I know that if you are watching this video, I know that if you are someone who's on a spiritual journey, like, the time is now. So heed the call of spirit, listen to your heart, and just follow. Just go. You're going to be urged to act. Do that. Do whatever you are intuitively guided to do. All right? So that was the message that I got. That was a lot, but that's exactly what spirit wanted us to know at this time. All right? So without further ado, let's get into the highlights and see what we've got going on for this week. All right, so first up, we have what I like to call happiness and satisfaction. So we've got a very beautiful transit between Mercury and Jupiter. Mercury will be trine Jupiter this week, and so this brings good news, this brings good fortune, abundance, and it's a great time for business and work, all right? So keep that in mind. Next, we have time to shine, okay? And this is also a very beautiful transit between the Sun and Chiron. So this is going to give us the opportunity to express ourselves uniquely. This is sort of going from a place of being wounded to a place of being empowered. And it's also an opportunity for us to share our wisdom and our authentic selves. So the transits this week are highly positive, and I feel like it's going to be one of those weeks where we see the fruits of our labor, especially if you've been doing the work, especially if you've been really examining yourself, if you've really been, putting in that work in terms of making yourself better, I feel like it's going to be one of those weeks where you start to see these things sort of come together. It's one of those weeks where you start to see your manifestations come to fruition in an effortless sort of way. All right. So I think it's going to be a pretty good week. And then finally, we have what I like to call unconditional love. And we've got 2 transits concerning Venus this week. So Venus is going to be square to Uranus. So this is going to be about listening to your intuition. This is the transit that I feel like Spirit was talking about in that message I gave before. Heeding that call of Spirit, like Spirit sort of really waking you up, like blaring that alarm clock. I feel like it's going to be Venus square Uranus. And then we close out the week with the Sun conjunct Venus. This is going to be one of the luckiest days for love this year. Okay. So it's going to be about love, money, creativity, relationships. But both of these Venus transits this week, the whole point of them is to really get us on the right track when it comes to not only just our relationships with others, but our relationship with ourselves. All right. So let's get into the week and see exactly what we've got going on. First up today, we've got the moon in Taurus. So I don't know about you, but today felt very lazy, or at least I wanted to feel very lazy, and that's definitely indicative of the moon in Taurus. Then on Wednesday, we've got that very beautiful transit between Mercury and Jupiter. So Mercury will be trine Jupiter on Wednesday, followed by Venus square Uranus. Again, that blaring alarm clock that Spirit's going to be putting in our ears this week. And then we have the moon moving into Gemini. Then on Friday, we have the moon moving into its home sign of Cancer, followed by Sun trine Chiron on Saturday. And then we close out the week with a beautiful conjunction between the Sun and Venus in Leo. All right, so without further ado, let's jump right in. All right, my love. So we start off the week with the moon in Taurus. All right, so we had that full moon in Aquarius last week. And so we are in between the full moon and the new moon, which is going down next week. So we are in the waning phase. So this is the phase of the moon. This is the 2 weeks of the month when we are letting things go. We are banishing things. We are making space for new intentions that will set at the new moon. So when the moon is in Taurus, and you will see that at the, upper left-hand portion of the chart, that brown colored moon is at 0 degrees Taurus. All right. So whenever the moon is in Taurus, this is when we feel like doing nothing. So the moon is exalted in Taurus, meaning that when the moon is in Taurus, it is treated like a queen. The energy is super potent. And Taurus loves luxury. Taurus loves pampering. Taurus loves love. But most importantly, Taurus loves to not only be comfortable and cozy, but to remain in its comfort zone. That's why we typically feel lazy when the moon is in Taurus. So here's the thing. Part of the challenge of a waning moon in Taurus is about allowing yourself to be uncomfortable, to remove the things that are not working for you, especially emotionally speaking. Like I said before, when the moon is in Taurus, we really don't want to do anything. We kind of just want to chill, put on our sweats, watch a good movie, eat some ice cream, all that stuff, right? Be comfortable and cozy. But like I said, when the moon is in the waning phase, this is when we get rid of things. This is when we banish stuff. This is when we make room for the things that we want. So it's really sort of a challenge to be like, listen, I've been holding on to this thing for so long. I've been comfortable with it, but I really need to let it go. Like, it's really not serving me. It's really not taking me where I need to go, etc. Now, Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is sort of the star of the show this week, and arguably the star of the show, generally speaking, at this time period, because Venus is in Leo and it's retrograde. So particularly when it comes to relationships, some of us may be holding on to certain ideals, certain criteria that are just not serving us. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you don't need to have standards in relationships. You do. But sometimes these standards or these criteria may really be stumbling blocks or straight up obstacles to what you ultimately want. Like, for instance, and I don't know why this just came to mind, it's like, you know how a lot of women have like height requirements, right? Like, oh, I only want to date dudes that are 6 feet and over. Short dudes need love too, right? Like that may be one of those criteria that you're holding on to that really has no, I'm not going to say it doesn't have any intrinsic value, right? Because we are allowed to want what we want, right? The heart wants what the heart wants. But if you find that that criteria has stood in the, like, let's say you met a guy who you had a really great vibe with. You caught a vibe with this person, but let's say they're like 5'5", okay? I know that's kind of short, but he's 5'5", and you're like, well, he'd be really great, but he's like super short. But you may be missing out on like the love of your life. And isn't the whole point to have love in its totality, right? This may be basically what I'm trying to say is this moon in Taurus, this waning moon in Taurus is like, what are you holding on to that is literally a stumbling block to what it is that you want? It may be time to examine that. Maybe time to figure out, why do you have this criteria? What is it about this criteria that you feel is so pertinent to your relationships, right? It's a time for self-examination and figuring out what sort of makes sense for you, what doesn't, and what you should hold on to and what you should let go of, so that you leave room for maybe a short dude, right? Or maybe a dude who's not that short but not that tall either, but will love you unconditionally, will love you exactly the way that you want to be loved, right? So we're being urged during this moon in Taurus to not be as lazy, but to really do some of that inner work and figure out, what emotions are we holding on to? What emotional baggage are we holding on to? What can we let go of so that we can ultimately have what we want? All right. That's the long and the short of it. All right. Let's keep it moving. All right, so then we move on to Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we have quite a few things going on. First, we've got Mercury trine Jupiter, all right? And Mercury is currently in Virgo at 14 degrees Virgo. You'll see that at the left-hand portion of the chart. And Jupiter is currently in Taurus at 14 degrees Taurus, all right? Then that same day, we've got Venus square Uranus. So also at the left-hand portion of the chart, you'll see Venus at 22 degrees Leo, currently retrograde. And Uranus is at 22 degrees Taurus, which is at the upper portion of the chart. And then finally, we have the moon in Gemini. And where is that? That's sort of at the top of the chart, too, in that large red circle. All right, so let's talk about it. So first up, Mercury trine Jupiter. I love this transit because it gives us a sense of hope. It gives us optimism. It allows us to see the bigger picture. And it usually heralds good news. I don't know about you, but the last couple of weeks have been kind of eh. And we've had some transits astrologically over the last couple of weeks where some of us may have received some not so good news, some news that, is a little challenging. And I feel like Mercury trine Jupiter, it shows us that there is a silver lining to every cloud and that we can be optimistic and we can really think of the future. We can think long term. We can think big picture. And this transit usually lends itself to easily thinking of the big picture. And that's typically what gives us optimism, right? Like, let's say you're trying to manifest something. Thinking of the end result, right, is always more pleasurable than thinking about all of the many little steps you may have to take to reach that end result. There's a certain inherent optimism in thinking of the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, right? And that is exactly what this particular transit is all about, okay? Now, with Mercury currently in its home sign, or one of its home signs of Virgo, this is also going to be a time of organizing, right? But not necessarily just organizing your house, right, or cleaning up your room. I think this is about organizing your thoughts, especially as they relate to the bigger picture. And when I say organize your thoughts, it's not just, all right, think of what you have to do, step 1, step 2, step 3 in order to achieve your goals. I don't think it's that at all. I think it's about taking stock of What thoughts do you think about that support that bigger picture? And what thoughts do you think about that don't support that bigger picture? Meaning, let's say that you want a new car. When you think about, okay, getting this car, driving this car, enjoying this car, right? Those are sort of thoughts that support that bigger picture. But then when you sort of think about, oh, I don't have any money right now, or my credit is messed up, or whatever, those are clearly thoughts that do not support that bigger picture. And I feel like it's really up to us to focus more on the thoughts that support that larger picture. And it's gonna be easier for us to do this with Mercury being trine to Jupiter. One of the other things that's really good about Mercury trine Jupiter is that it is perfect for planning trips. Whether you are taking a trip or planning a trip, this is one of those like, okay, I want to go to Bali next year. Let me figure out a plan and like start saving money, right? Like it's one of those really optimistic kind of transits. So it's great for studying. It's great for business transactions. It's just an all around great transit, okay? And so definitely take advantage of it. Don't just sit on your ass not doing anything. Like think of what you want and get your mind right. Get your mind in alignment to the things that you want. Clearly the astrology supports it. Okay. So this is the time, like Mercury is all about writing. It's all about thinking. It's all about speaking. So this is one of those great transits to repeat affirmations, do scripting, even if you want to like listen to certain guided meditations or something like that. Like doing that will definitely put a huge dent in whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. I cannot stress enough how great this particular transit is. But not just that, Jupiter is the planet of good luck and good fortune. So it's one of those situations where you may get fortunate news. You may get like a great stock tip. You may get like some assistance. You may get literal money because money or anything tangible like that because Jupiter is in Taurus. Taurus is all about tangible things. You may get good news about money. Like the way that this particular transit can work itself out is absolutely beautiful. Okay. So be open to it though. Like I said, the last couple of weeks have been kind of rough, right? Many of us have been receiving bad news. And it's almost like Spirit is like, what I don't want you to do is you get good news and then you second guess it. Like you're like, can I really celebrate this? Like, is this really a good thing? Or waiting for the other shoe to drop. Spirit is like, don't do that. Don't do that. Enjoy whatever it is that you receive. Be appreciative for where you are. Be grateful. And this particular transit will bring more goodness to you, will bring more opportunities for appreciation, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful transit, okay? And I can't help but notice this super chat right here. Thank you so much. I truly, truly appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. All right. So then next up, we have Venus square Uranus. And I sort of alluded to this before. This is this transit where it's like Spirit is putting a blaring trumpet or an alarm in your ear that's saying, wake up, wake up. Wake up, especially when it comes to relationships. Not even just relationships, right? Because Venus is in Leo. Venus in Leo is all about following your heart. What is it that your heart truly desires? I feel like Venus square Uranus, it's going to shake it out of you. Some people are going to have a rude awakening. Like I said before, it's almost like being abruptly awoken out of your sleep. Like you're going to be like, whoa, what am I doing? What is this? This is not me. This is not what I want. Like I thought this was a good idea, but it's not. So many people are going to be feeling rebellious, okay? Now, when it comes to relationships, this could be a good thing or a bad thing. Let's start with the bad first. If you are in a relationship that is not in alignment with your highest good, if you are faking the funk and you're just really in a relationship for superficial reasons, like Venus square Uranus is going to have your eyes wandering and your attention elsewhere. Venus square Uranus loves excitement. Excitement? Yes, excitement. So this particular transit, if you're in a relationship that's not stimulating you, if you're in a relationship that is not really, in alignment with your highest good, Again, I feel like you're going to be looking everywhere else but your relationship for what it is that you need. The good thing is, if you are in a solid relationship, if you're in a relationship that is in alignment with your highest good, that really speaks to the authentic desires of your heart, then this transit is just going to have you doing new, interesting, and fun things, perhaps with your partner as well. But the whole point is, I feel like it's just, again, it's waking people up to what it is they want. Perhaps by giving them a rude awakening with respect to where they currently are. So again, if you're in a relationship that's on some bullshit, I feel like that bullshit is going to come front and center, and you're really going to be able to see it. And you're going to be like, yeah, I don't want this anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see quite a few breakups, quite a few, all of that kind of stuff. But it's also perhaps allowing people to step outside of their comfort zone when it comes to love. Because you know what I've come to realize, not just in spirituality, but in my own personal life, is that sometimes what you think you want is not really what you want, or is not really what you deserve, or it's not really in alignment with your desires, right? Like you know, I know I'm not the only one who has been in situations where I'm like, oh my gosh, I really like this person. I really want to be in a relationship with them. Oh my gosh, yes. And then you get in a relationship with them. It's like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, who is this? like this is not what I want, but you're still going along with it because you're like, yeah, I'm in a relationship, or, you know, I don't want to break their heart, or I don't want to rock the boat. This is going to be one of those transits where spirit is like, rock the fucking boat. Get out of there. Do what you got to do, because this ain't working. Again, sort of that message that I was talking about before, heeding the call of spirit, and spirit being like, yeah, this ain't it. This ain't it. You know it's not it. That's the thing. Our intuition is always on point. Our intuition will tell us when we've overstayed our welcome, when we weren't welcome in the first place, all of that stuff. So this is one of those situations, or this is one of those transits, I should say. You're really going to want to listen to your intuition. Your intuition is not going to steer you wrong. Again, sort of like the example I was given before, you have this criteria, right? This laundry list of what you want in a partner. And maybe you meet someone who doesn't fit that criteria, right? And your intuition is like, maybe you should explore this. Maybe I should look into this. Maybe I should give this person a chance, right? Your brain is probably like, no, they don't meet the criteria. But your intuition is like, see where this could take you. That's how this transit is going to play out. It's going to be interesting, okay? Interesting. But above all else, whatever you feel, whatever you are intuitively guided to do, do it. Your intuition will not steer you wrong. It is steering you in the direction of your heart's truest desires. And for some, maybe this particular transit is going to help you figure out what those desires are. A lot of times we think we know what we want, but what's really in our hearts, sometimes our hearts have been broken so many times. Sometimes we have so much emotional baggage. Sometimes our hearts are clouded. We think we know what we want. Keyword is think. But we don't know what we really want in terms of feelings, in terms of our hearts. And sometimes the way the spirit gets us to feel what's in our hearts is to break our hearts open. And sometimes that hurts. But it's how you ultimately figure out what you really want. So allow this transit to play out however it's going to play out. Don't try to manipulate. Don't try to control the situation. Just go with the flow and listen to your intuition, because I think it's going to be spot on in terms of where you're headed and what you truly want. All right. And then finally, we have the moon in Gemini. The moon in Gemini is going to have us really in our heads. But here's the thing. If we're sort of feeling what we want in our heart space with that Venus, square Uranus, the moon in Gemini is really going to have us reflecting on certain patterns from the past, certain relationship issues. Like, I feel like it gives us the opportunity to be cerebral about what we're feeling. And I think that that's ultimately a good thing. Because when we're able to not only understand our feelings from an emotional standpoint, but we're able to sort of process them intellectually or mentally, I think that's a great balance. And I feel like that Venus square Uranus plus the moon in Gemini, perfect balance of that. So we're going to have this ability to understand how we feel. So suffice it to say, I feel like it's going to be one of those weeks, especially midweek, like you're going to want to assess how you are feeling. Like, I don't know about you, but I do like regular checkups or check-ins with myself. If I'm feeling something, I allow myself to feel it, but then I'm like, okay, what does this mean? Like, I'm feeling this. Why do I feel this? Where does this feeling come from? And allow yourself to sort of examine yourself. That's how we figure out a lot of things, or at least that's how I figure out a lot of things. And I feel like with the moon in Gemini, that gives us the opportunity to do that. So again, I feel like Gemini being ruled by Mercury, Mercury has everything to do with thoughts, communication, writing. This is a great time for journaling, self-reflection, meditation even. Like, you're going to want to spend some time alone analyzing how you feel, what's coming up. Sometimes that can be difficult when we're talking about relationships, right? Because we tend to want to talk to other people about what's going on or how we feel, whether it's our partner or a counterpart, or whether it's other people where we want their advice on this. I'm feeling strongly guided to tell you, like, don't do that. Like, this is a time for you to really go within, especially with Venus being retrograde in Leo. Like, this is a time to not want to go to the internet and ask everyone's opinion on your relationship, or ask your partner, well, what do you think about me wanting to leave you? Like, clearly that makes no sense, right? Like, this is a time for you to really go within and figure things out on your own. And again, this is a great time for journaling, scripting. One of the things that I love to do, and this is something that I've recently come to love, is voice notes. Like, number one, I'm the type of person, I love having conversations with myself. Like, I talk to myself all the time. I tell people when I want to speak to an expert, I speak to myself. So I speak to myself out loud all the time. But I call it audio journaling. And I literally just put on, like, I put on my voice note recorder and I just speak what I'm feeling or thinking or whatever, rather than just journaling audio notes. And then I can go back and listen to it and sort of reflect and do all of that kind of work. So that may work for you. So you may want to engage in that if, you know, that resonates with you. But regardless, I feel like midweek, going to be experiencing a lot in terms of relationships, in terms of relationship patterns. But I feel like the astrology sort of supports the fact that we can really reflect on what's going on and figure out what's really in our hearts. All right, let's keep it moving. All right. So talking about feelings, the moon is going to be moving into Cancer, its home sign, on Friday. All right. And you'll see that at the bottom right-hand portion of the chart. All right. So whenever the moon is in Cancer, we get extra sensitive. We get very feely. We get in our feelings. It's a placement of the moon where we're really in touch with our emotions. So this may be, all of what I've said is probably relevant, and then you may just be feeling shit, right? Just feeling shit, feeling emotions, whether it's from your present situation, whether it's past emotions, whether things are triggering you. We're just going to be feeling it. And there's a place for that. Emotions are meant to be felt. And I feel like a lot of us don't want to feel them. We shove them under the rug. We ignore them. We don't process them. This is one of those weeks where you're not going to want to do that. This is one of those weeks where you're going to want to really face what you are feeling head on. And allow yourself to feel it. Because here's the thing. If you don't allow yourself to feel it, you're probably just going to be going around this karmic merry-go-round again and again and again. Right? Sometimes we feel like we need to brace ourselves for things, right? Like, we know that we've had our heart broken before. And so if we see certain signs, if we see certain red flags, if we see certain signals, we're like bracing ourselves. Like, we don't want to feel it. We want to avoid it at all costs. I'm not telling you to look for heartbreak. I'm not saying that at all. But remember, I said with that Venus square Uranus transit, you kind of just want to go with the flow and let things happen as they will. And perhaps the way things are meant to happen is that you're meant to be feeling certain unpleasant emotions at this time. But guess what? Those unpleasant emotions, that's what's going to get you to not repeat the same bullshit. Real talk. Like feeling that hurt, feeling that pain sometimes is that's what gets you to say, you know what? Yeah, enough is enough. I'm not doing this anymore. It's time for me to really follow my heart. It's time for me to really have what I want. So like I said, whatever you're feeling, allow it to be felt. Okay. The moon is still going to be in the waning phase. So this is when we get rid of what we don't need. And the way that emotions work is that they need to be felt so that they can be released. It's sort of emotions come in waves. And when you suppress emotions, you suppress the wave, right? You suppress the wave. It can't come up and then dissipate. That's when you start getting emotions stuck in your body. You start getting sick and a whole bunch of other things. Feel what you're feeling. Let it go. And then start fresh. Because you're going to have the opportunity to do that this week as well. All right? Let's keep it moving. All right, so then on Saturday, we've got the Sun trine Chiron. All right, and the Sun is currently in the sign of Leo. You'll see that at the upper right-hand portion of the chart. That's at 19 degrees Leo. And Chiron is at 19 degrees Aries, and that is at the bottom portion of the chart. So if you have no idea what Chiron is basically the point in your natal chart that shows you where your insecurities, where your emotional baggage is, okay? And I did a full sort of tutorial all about Chiron in the natal chart. I will link that video in the description box below so you can check it out and figure out what that is for you in your natal chart. But Sun trine Chiron is a really good transit because essentially it is your time to shine. It's one of those situations, it's one of those transits that it's like, you know, if you feel like you've been in the trenches for a while, you've really been doing the work, you've really been battling your demons, doing shadow work, really getting in touch with yourself, all that stuff. Sun trine Chiron allows you to give your testimony. It's almost like, you know how they say there's no testimony without a test, right? I feel like many of us have been in the test phase for quite some time where things have felt like we had to get it out the mud, right? Like we were just really trudging through a lot of stuff and it felt very heavy, it felt very intense. It's like now it's sort of we're coming full circle, we're coming out on the other end and we're coming out better. And it's our time to show who we are as healed people. I have a friend of mine who sent me a DM the other day, and it was this video with Ari Lennox. And she was talking about how I think she's like newly sober for like a year or something like that. And she looked so different. Like if you looked at a picture from her like now, from like a year ago, completely different person. And I was telling him, I was like, yo, it's amazing how healing looks so good on us. When you are healed, like you look good, you feel good, you know, you just glow. And that's sort of what this transit is like. It's like glowing from the inside out. Now, if you haven't done any of the work, that's probably not how this transit is going to work out for you. But if you have, this is the time for you to shine. It's your time for you to be out in the sun. It's your time for you to, what I'm hearing is, like, let's say you've lost a significant amount of weight, right? And it's like you have this new body. It's like taking your new body out for a spin. So this is kind of like taking your new self out for a spin, this healed self, this evolved self, this ascended self, right? And more importantly, it's also about teaching people what you know. You know, I just said before, there's no testimony without a test. And I feel like this particular transit is going to want to have people attesting to their healing, telling people what they've learned, showing people what they've learned, showing people the way to healing. Like it's just such a beautiful transit. And with the sun in its home sign of Leo, that ability to shine, that ability to stand out is going to be so potent. It's going to be so intense. So this is the time for you to shine. This is the time for you to be vocal. This is the time for you to allow your heart to lead and allow yourself to be a teacher to others. Even if you're not a teacher in the traditional sense, meaning that you're literally guiding people step by step with respect to, you know, healing or whatever it is, just be an example. You don't have to get on YouTube or get on your soapbox and say, this is how I've healed and whatever, whatever. Take your new healed self out for a spin, right? Be an example. Show people what it's like to be healed. Show people what it's like to love yourself. Show people what it's like to slay your demons or make your demons your friends, right? It's about being authentically you in all of your healed glory. And I feel like it's such a beautiful transit. So take advantage. Allow yourself to be seen. Allow yourself to be heard. Speak to other people and just let your authentic self shine. All right? Let's keep it moving. All right. And then we close out the week with arguably the best transit, one of the best transits like ever. I want you to put a gold star next to Sunday because Sunday is going to be a fantastic day with a fantastic transit. We've got the Sun conjunct Venus in Leo, right? And so both of those planets you'll see in the red circle are at 20 degrees Leo, okay? So let's talk technical astrology terms for a second. So whenever a planet is conjunct the sun, and when it's at a particular distance from the sun, it's called cazimi. And that's just a fancy astrology jargon way of saying that this particular planet is in a sweet spot as it relates to the sun. So you know the story of Icarus, right? And he made those wax wings to fly up to the sun. And of course, the sun melted the wax and he fell. I don't know if he died, but whatever. You get what I'm saying, right? Anytime a planet gets too close to the sun, the energy of that planet sort of gets overshadowed by the sun's energy. The energy of the sun sort of burns the qualities of that planet. But there's a certain sweet spot where the energy of the sun mixes with the energy of that particular planet, and it's this very fortuitous, beautiful sort of energy known as cazimi, okay? And so on Sunday, we're going to experience a Venus cazimi, as Venus will be in a super sweet spot as it relates to the sun. So what the hell does this mean? And what does it mean for you, right? I'm sure that's what you're asking. So Venus being retrograde in Leo, romance, this is about getting very clear on what it is that you want and feeling good about it too. It's almost like all of the positivity with respect to Venus when it comes to love, when it comes to romance, when it comes to relationships, that's sort of going to be activated. So this is going to be one of those days where you probably feel really good about yourself, right? Because the first form of love is self-love. And so feeling good, feeling confident. Anytime we talk about the sun, we inherently talk about confidence. We talk about that vital life energy. So feeling good, feeling energized, right? We already went through this previous Venus transit, right? Venus square Uranus, where, I'm just going to reiterate, just think about what I just said before about how we're sort of going to be awakened to what it is that's truly in our hearts and what we really want. And I feel like the Sun conjunct Venus is going to allow us to take action toward that and just having us feel good about it, all right? It's a great day to pamper yourself. It's a great day perhaps to go shopping. It's a fortuitous day when it comes to money. Venus and the sun are in Leo. Leo is the natural sort of sign of the fifth house, which covers gambling. On Sunday, if you are someone that partakes in lotto, if you're someone that gambles, buy a lottery ticket. Go to the casino if you can. Drop a couple of dollars. You never know, right? You never know what could happen. It's one of those very fortuitous days that money's looking good, relationships are looking good, whatever. So, I said before that many people are going to wake up and be like, whoa, what relationship am I in? This makes no sense, blah, 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 right? What I love about Sun conjunct Venus is that if you decide to walk away, if you decide to sort of change the course of your relationship, I feel like the Sun conjunct Venus is going to back you up. I feel like it's going to give you the support. It's going to give you the confidence. It's going to make you feel good about whatever decisions that you're making. Maybe you are embarking on a new relationship with someone who is absolutely not your type, right? You're like, I don't know. I'm following my intuition, but I don't really know about this. I feel like Sun conjunct Venus is going to allow you to feel good about that decision. It's going to support that decision. It's going to allow you to feel good about about seeing where this particular relationship can go, despite the fact that this person's not your type, or they're like 5'8" when you really like dudes that are 6'4" and above, right? It's going to make you feel good about those things. So I feel like we close out the week on a very positive note. Like I said before, I feel like it's a week where we are getting very clear on what's in our hearts, on what we want. With the moon being in the waning phase, I feel like we're getting rid of the things that we don't need, that we don't want, and we're making room for the things that we do want. But most importantly, we're making room for the things that are really of our highest good and that really align with our heart's truest desires. And that's the week in a nutshell, my friends. Not bad at all, if I may say so. I think we've had some, like I said, I feel like we've had some weeks in the past that haven't been that pleasant, but I feel like this is sort of where the tide turns. Okay? So now let's get into some messages from Spirit. So, of course, I will be pulling some cards for the collective. So I do it by sign, but whatever message resonates for you is your message. Whether it's your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, your Jupiter, or your Venus, if it resonates, take it because it resonates. It's for you. All right. So, of course, we start at the beginning and we start with Aries. So let's see what we've got for Aries for this week. All right, Aries, we've got the Chariot. So things are moving. When I was shuffling, I kept hearing you. Like you guys are unapologetically moving in the directions of the things that you want. I'm hearing that some of you are like bulldozing through things. If anything stands in your way, I feel like you were just going to bulldoze through it. I feel like this is a week where you're really tapped into yourself, and not in a selfish or a self-centered sort of way, but in a way where you put yourself first. And that makes complete sense, right? Some of you are also, you see how this Chariot is led by, this light colored Sphinx and this dark colored Sphinx. You guys have successfully integrated your light side and your shadow side. And so you're moving forward very successfully. It's almost like this Chariot is like a military tank. Not only are you bulldozing the things that sort of stand in your way, but there is a strategy to this forward movement. So I feel like you're very strategic. You're very sort of thinking about yourself, thinking about your goals, and sort of attacking them in a very strategic way. And Spirit is saying, just keep going. Just keep going. You're on the right track, right? All right. Next up, we've got Taurus. Let's see what we have for Taurus for this week. Taurus, I love this for you. You've got the Nine of Cups. So there is a dream that is coming true for you this week. So when it comes to something that you've really wanted, when it comes to maybe something that you've been working on manifesting, I think you're either going to start seeing signs of that manifestation coming to fruition, or the actual manifestation of that, the actual fruition of that manifestation. Okay. So enjoy it. I feel like this is a week that's very celebratory for you. I'm also hearing every cloud has a silver lining. So I feel like while there may be some things that you could complain about, or you could feel sad about or down about, I don't think that you'll have the energy to, because I think that whatever it is that you're receiving, whatever is coming to fruition, it just overshadows everything else. So congratulations. I feel like something that you really want is finally starting to take form, and you're super excited about it. And I'm super excited for you about it as well. Okay. Next up, we've got Gemini. Let's see what we have for Gemini for this week. Gemini, we've got the King of Cups. So you're in your feelings this week, but you kind of have control over your feelings. I get the sense that things around you may be a little chaotic, or you just may be feeling a lot. So with the moon being in your sign this week, as well as in Cancer, you may be experiencing some situations that elicit an emotional response, meaning that you get triggered, or, let me not say you get triggered. I feel like you're going to experience things or situations that normally would trigger you. And I feel like because of the presence of the King of Cups, I feel like you're not going to be as triggered, or you're not going to be triggered at all. I feel like you have your emotions in a really good place. Like you have your emotions in check. And so I feel like things that may have bothered you before are not going to bother you. And I feel like you're going to be feeling good because you're going to see your progress. Not just that, I feel like for some, if you decide to take a major deviation in your particular relationship, I feel like your emotions aren't gonna suck you back in. Meaning, like, let's say that you are planning on leaving a situation, separating, breaking up, whatever. Normally, the other person's emotional response would trigger you and be like, maybe I didn't, and you would think maybe I didn't make the right decision, or you may even just stay for fear of how the other person is going to feel. I feel like you're feeling very solid, very grounded in your emotions. So, whatever decisions you take, I feel like you're able to stand on them. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Next up, we've got Cancer. Let's see what we've got for Cancer for this week. All right, Cancer, we've got the Knight of Wands. I'm hearing two things. Number one, some of you are very desirous of something, and I see you taking significant and profound action steps toward this thing. So whatever it is that you're desiring, I see that you're just going at it full force. For others of you, I feel like this is a week where you're going to have to sort of control your sexual impulses. Don't allow your sexual impulses to make your decisions for you, because I feel like those decisions are not only going to be like impulsive and maybe not be of your highest good, but I don't necessarily get the sense that these sexual impulses are really in alignment with your heart's truest desire. I don't think you're thinking with your heart. I think you're thinking with something else. And so you may want to curtail that energy. You may want to rein that energy in, because ultimately what you want may not be what you're desirous of in this moment. All right. So take a minute to think before you act this week. Okay. All right. Next up, we've got Leo. All right, Leo, let's see what we've got. Okay, Leo, we've got the devil energy. Some of you are going to be awakening to the fact that maybe the relationship that you're in is kind of like this. It may be very lusty. It may tick all of your boxes when it comes to your criteria. However, I feel like this relationship may keep you stuck and stagnant. Some of you are going to be awakened to the fact that relationships that you're in, or maybe the types of relationships that you want or that you're going after, are really sort of opposite of your ascension path. You know, I said before that Venus square Uranus, it may have you sort of entertaining people who are not your type or who are not on your criteria. I think that this is the week. I think that message rings very true for you, Leo, because I feel like you're going to be hip to the fact that your relationship types, your relationship criteria, it's not in alignment with your ascension. And I think that this is going to be one of those weeks where, like I said, spirit has like a trumpet in your ear, or a super obnoxious alarm clock that's going to wake you up to the fact that these kind of relationships aren't it. These kind of relationships are great. I'm not saying that they're not good. But I think they may look good on paper, but the substance of them is just not where you need to be. And I think that you're going to realize that this week. Okay? All right. Next up, we've got Virgo. Let's see what we have for Virgo for this week. Virgo. All right. You've got the Six of Swords. With Mercury currently in your sign, your state of mind, your mindset, your frame of mind is moving to a much calmer place. I feel like this is going to be a week where you're a lot less anxious, a lot less worrisome. I feel like you can finally breathe. You can finally take a breather. Things are finally settling in your mind, and I want to say allowed, but that's not the word that I want to use. You're able to think a lot clearer, make better decisions. I'm hearing like relaxed nervous system, clear thoughts. You're in a much better mental space this week. And so, with you being in a better mental space this week, you're going to want to take advantage by fixating your mind on what it is that you want. A lot of times, when our mind is cloudy, when our nervous system is out of whack, it's hard for us to get on board with the things that we want. We may find that when we think about the things that we want, we get triggered, or we've got old bullshit thoughts coming up. For you, Virgo, I think that this is a week where that's not happening. And so if that's not happening, take full advantage and plan, visualize, script. Get your mind in alignment and on the same frequency as the things that you want, especially because your mind is clear this week. And I feel like these things are going to come in a lot faster and a lot bigger. Like you're going to get more than you expect. So take advantage of this energy and align to the things that you want mentally. All right. Next up, we've got Libra. Let's see what we've got for Libra for this week. All right, Libra, we've got the stars. So you guys are really thinking about the things that you wish for, the things you guys are feeling very hopeful this week. Rather than focusing on the day-to-day details, rather than allowing other people to cloud your judgment or get in your head, I feel like you guys are definitely feeling hopeful, feeling optimistic, thinking about the future in a very hopeful way. So sort of piggybacking off the message for Virgo. You guys, I feel like you guys are also in a good mental space. So take advantage of that and fix your mind, attune to the frequency of the things that you want. And I feel like for you, things are going to happen not in the same way for Virgo. For Virgo, I think that Virgo was going to get more than they bargained for. For you, things are going to work out in weird, interesting, and exciting ways. So be open and receptive to how the universe is going to deliver whatever it is to you, right? But I feel like your mind is a very fertile garden right now. So use this week to really plant seeds of the things that you want, okay? Next up, we've got Scorpio. Let's see what we have for Scorpio for this week. Oh, Scorpio, we've got the Three of Swords. So Scorpio, I feel like this is going to be a week where your heart gets broken open and you figure out, you're able to determine what's working for you and what's not, especially in the love department. So I feel like this is a week where, although it may be quite emotional, it may be a little painful, I feel like it's going to be very eye-opening in terms of what you no longer want, what you no longer want to tolerate, what you no longer want to entertain, but allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you're feeling. Don't hold back. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to scream, scream. Please do not stab anybody. Don't do anything crazy like that, but express yourself. That is going to help you see clearly, think clearly, and feel clearly, if that makes any sense. All right. But I feel like this is going to be a week where you figure out what's working and what's not. As painful as it may be, it'll definitely be enlightening. Okay. Next up, we've got Sagittarius. Let's see what we've got for Sagittarius for this week. All right, Sag, we've got the Ace of Wands. Y'all are really in your creative bags this week, meaning that there is something that you are on fire for. There's something that you're desirous of, something that you really want. And I feel like you are taking action steps toward it. It's like you are sparking a fire. Some of you may be sparking a fire in other people. So I don't know if you are convincing people of something, persuading people of something, but I see you sort of getting other people amped and motivated with respect to your idea, what you want, sort of getting people on board with your desires. So I see you sort of talking to a lot of people, convincing people, maybe even making like presentations or something like that. But again, I feel like this is a very creative sort of energy where it's like you have this magic wand and you can create whatever it is that you want. And I feel like this creative energy is going to motivate other people to want to create with you, create for you. I feel like you're in a very persuasive sort of energy this week. Don't misuse it, okay? That's the worst thing that you can do. But if you're able to, really tap into this energy, I feel like you can not only get what you want, you can get other people to give it to you. So I think that's super beneficial. Okay. All right. Next up, we've got Capricorn. Let's see what we've got for Capricorn for this week. Capricorn, we've got the Two of Pentacles. You guys have an overflow of abundance this week. I feel like there is this energy of, I gotta choose which one, but they're both really good. I feel like for some, this could be two different people. It could be two different relationships. Like, you have an abundance of opportunities when it comes to relationships. And this week is really just figuring out which relationship is more in alignment with your heart's truest desires and making that decision. Some of you have been juggling these two situations because you're almost afraid of really getting what you want. Maybe you have issues or emotional hangups when it comes to what's really in your heart. So rather than make a definitive decision, you kind of just are stringing these two people along, or maybe this is you, maybe someone else is stringing you along for that same reason. But this is going to be a week where decisions have to be made. This is one of those shit or get off the pot kind of weeks where when it comes to relationships, when it comes to what's in your heart, like, now is the time to be decisive. Now is the time to really tap in and take action. And I feel like this is going to be a week of decisions for you. And the best way to make the decision is with your heart, not with your head. Either head. Take that as you will. All right. Next up, we've got Aquarius. Let's see what we've got for Aquarius for this week. I'm not inclined to take that one. That like flew off the table. All right, Aquarius, we've got the King of Cups. Aquarius, I get that this is an actual person. And this is someone who may want to have a commitment with you, someone who wants to have perhaps a serious conversation with you. It's almost like I'm getting the sense that this person wants to bare their soul. They want to be emotionally honest with you. Or there may be a situation that brings out the honesty of a relationship. Either way, I feel like emotions are going to be spilled. Someone's really going to get something off their chest, or someone is going to really speak from their heart. And I get the sense that I don't necessarily think that if someone is spilling their heart to you, right, I don't see you embracing them with open arms. I kind of see you being like, oh, okay, that's nice. Yeah. Kind of this sort of emotionally detached kind of response. And that may just be how you are, or it may just signify the type of relationship that you have with this person. But regardless, I feel like there's going to be a relation or a situation regarding a relationship where emotions are discussed, emotions are put forth. I don't see or feel a lot of warmth with this. So this may be a situation where you are parting ways. Perhaps you're going in different directions. You're deciding that, okay, this is not what I want. But I do see a somewhat serious situation or a serious conversation in a relationship happening this week. So do what you will with that, right? But again, you want to allow your heart to lead. And if it's a situation where you don't want to continue with this person, or you're not necessarily feeling what they're offering, cool. Let them know that. But ultimately move in the direction that your heart is guiding you. Okay? And last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. Let's see what we have for Pisces for this week. All right, Pisces. We've got the Eight of Swords. Some of you are prisoners of your own mind. Like, you may have an obsessive thought about something, or it's sort of one of those nagging kind of thoughts. Like, let's say that you're with somebody and they do something that you don't like, or they have a quality that you don't necessarily find endearing. I feel like, you see how she's draped in red, right? I feel like some of you are just focusing on red flags. Like, you're just like, you're forgetting all the green flags. I feel like you're just focused on what's not working, what you don't like, what's weird, or whatever, right? And Spirit is like, release yourself from this. Venus square Uranus is having many people move out of their comfort zones. It's having many people experience different things than what they are used to. And what you deem as a red flag may not necessarily be a red flag, it just may be different. So, apart from that, Spirit is saying that you need to use your powers of discernment. Understand what's a red flag and what is different. Don't make any knee jerk decisions. This is not the time to do that. Rather, sit and observe and see exactly what this is. Again, you're going to want to use your gifts or your powers of discernment to figure out whether it's a red flag or whether it's just something different that you may need to experience at this time. But release yourself from this mental prison. Stop looking for red flags. Stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. Just enjoy whatever situation, and again, figure out if it's truly a red flag or if it's just something new, different, and exciting. All right, my loves, so that concludes this week's edition of the Weekly Astro Forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going into this new week. Again, I'm doing that giveaway. It's a 3-month astrological transit. So basically, it's going to tell you what the next 3 months are going to look for you. If you want to participate in the giveaway, comment below in the comment section your sun sign and you will automatically be entered. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have an amazing week. And I mean that. Have an amazing week. Allow the week to open your eyes. Allow the week to wake you up. Allow the week to show you how much you've grown, how much you've healed. Allow the week to let you take your new healed self out for a spin. Allow the week to allow you to experience something different and something that's in alignment with your heart. All right, my friends, take care, and I will see you in my next broadcast. All right, have an amazing week.